All right, you want to know how to play some really juicy dominant chords, I'm assuming. That's why you clicked on this video. Today I'm going to show you 3 of the most useful and most used dominant chords that are going to spice up your playing. Now, if you wanted to get a PDF, there's a free PDF in a link that you can download. Anyway, the 3 dominant chords we're going to be learning are these 3 here. This sound, this one here, and then this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we can use all 3 of them and explain them to you. But before we do that, I need to make sure you understand what a dominant chord actually is and the basic bare bones version of it, so all this stuff makes sense, all right? And if you already know how that works, you can skip forward to this time and then you'll be able to see the rest of the chords and how we can make better sounding, more full chords, okay? So let's look at a dominant 7th chord to begin with. And all of these examples will be in C. We're going to use C as our root. So we take our root, we have the major 3rd above it, and then the flattened 7th, which in this case is a B flat. This is the basic bare bones version of a dominant 7th chord, okay? We can add the 5th if we want to, but it's not actually necessary. So we can just play the root, 3rd, and 7th. And this is what we call a shell voicing in jazz terminology. Just the root, 3rd, and 7th. That doesn't just have to go for dominant chords, it can go for minor 7ths, major 7ths, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But that is what it is. Root, 3rd, 7th is a shell voicing. And we can play that in any order. We could play the root, and then the 7th, and then the 3rd. We could space it out really far, like this. We could space it out here. You know, we could play the 7th, and then the 3rd, and then the root. Okay, that's a different voicing. Still a dominant 7. We could do the 3rd, and then the root and the 7th. This sounds a bit interesting, but it still works, right? Especially if you really know how to resolve it, which is what we want to learn to do. So that is the basic bare bones version of a dominant 7 chord, the basic version. Root, 3rd, and 7th. Now, how do we spice it up? What we do is we're going to add extensions to this chord. And we can think of them as the 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, or the flattened 9, sharp 9, you know, sharpen and flatten these extensions. But the other way that I like to think about it is triads or different chords on top of that basic bare bones dominant 7, and I'll explain that, okay? So let's look at the first one that I'm going to talk about, which is this. This is what we call the 13 sus, all right? This exact chord is a C13 sus, but why is it a 13 sus? Well, we have our dominant 7, right? We're actually missing the 3rd of this one. We have our 9, our 11, and our 13 up here. That's what these extensions make, okay? And the reason why it's a sus is because we're missing the 3rd. So we have this sound, which is such a really nice way of getting back to chord 1, which would be F in this case, okay? So there's your 13 sus. Now there's a couple of ways we can play it. And the way I like to think about this is you take your root, move it down a tone, or a whole step, and then play the major 7 on that note. That's how I like to think about building this chord, okay? So we could do that again if we started with an F. We think where's down a tone? Here, and then a major 7. Okay, we can do that everywhere. So that's how you can build those 13 sus voicings. That's just one way of voicing it. But remember I said we can move those notes to different areas. They don't have to be the exact same space every time. So what happens if we take this top note and move it down an octave? We get this voicing, right? Still a 13 sus, but it just sounds a little different. You know, we could do the same thing again. Move this top note down here, okay? That's another voicing. So we could even space things out even more if we wanted to. We could go, this is another voicing, okay? I just took that note and moved it up the octave, the 9, moved it up the octave. So that's another voicing. We can combine a couple of cluster sounds. So let's add this C up here again. We've got that, maybe we want to add the 5th. we can build a whole bunch of different sounds. It's the same chord, but we just add or take away or move notes wherever we feel like it. And I really encourage you to experiment with this kind of stuff, because that is how you're going to learn to use all these different voicings and how they're going to click for you personally. And that's what we want. So there you go, the 13 sus. Such a nice voicing. And this works so well going to chord 1, which in this case would be F major. So 5 to 1. We could do the same thing with, let's say, G. Remember, G going to C. So there you go. That's how you can use the 13 sus. The other chord that I wanted to show you, the second one, is going to be the 13 flat 9. This chord right here. This is such a lovely chord, and it's very often used in like early jazz standards and stuff because it's such a beautiful dominant 7, such a nice sound, right? Sounds fantastic. So that's what it is. You think the 13 sus, you can take these two middle notes, and flatten them by a half step or a semitone. The other way you can think of it is the root, 7th, 3rd, and 11, and where the 9 would be, which is this D, the note above the root, we just flatten that down one, okay? There you go. The other way I can think about this, like before we thought, B flat major 7 over C, we can think here an A major triad over a C7, okay? That is how this chord is shaped. And when you look at it again, look at this. This is an A major triad, just with the root moved up here, and then the root and the 7th, okay? So that's the other way you can think about it. The basic dominant 7 chord that you know, plus an A major triad. Or in this case, we can think, down a minor 3rd, like this. That major triad. Go down that minor 3rd, or go down 3 semitones, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's how you get that. And when you know that, it means you can play a massive major triad like this, which is such a huge voicing. And you get such a nice sound, such a huge full sound, but you're just thinking, oh, A major over C7. Not that hard. Okay, such a nice chord that resolves really nicely to chord 1, okay, or down a 5th. So there you go, and again, we can change the way we play all these voicings. We can cluster them together. Oh, sorry, like this. Sounds really weird, but it works because it's all the notes that fit into that chord. Now the last one, this is one of my favorite ones, the sharp 5, sharp 9. This is a fantastic voicing. This one right here, okay? This is a basic version of it, and there's a couple of other versions like this, okay? But what this chord is made up of is, again, the 3rd and 7th, all right? But this time, the 5th, we're sharpening it, going up a semitone or a half step, and the 9, we're also sharpening it, going up a half step or a semitone. So that's where we get this voicing. But remember, I said the other times, we can think of triads over the top of the dominant 7 chord. So this one, I like to think of it as A flat major, this A flat major triad here, over the dominant 7, okay? The previous one was A major, now we're thinking A flat major, down a semitone, okay? That works beautifully. This is a nice voicing here. We can think A flat major plus the dominant 7, 3rd and 7th, and the root. There you go. We can play this as many ways as we want to. And that is always going to work. And this tends to go down a 5th, but to the minor chord. So this is a really nice minor 5 to 1. This sound, all right? This is the basic way we can play these 3 chords, okay? They are so useful. So now what I want you to do is, now that you know how to form these kind of chords, then go and play them in all 12 keys. Try and think how I can form them. Okay, in all 12 keys. Once you know how to play them in all 12 keys, you will be finding that you'll use them everywhere. They are so good. So I hope this video has helped, and if it has, make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe because it really helps me out. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video that I make. Anyway, make sure you go and practice and have a fantastic rest of your day.